How
I
do
don't know.
people?
I mean, I don't know how
Oh,
to zoom it. We've had all sorts of creative zoomy kind of ways. It's sort of I guess we follow the rules of auditioning in the end. Like in an audition, if the rule, my rule in auditioning is if it's intrinsic to the scene, then it has to be done, and if it's not, then avoid it at all cost, right? So avoid props and costumes and avoid physicality if you can, and keep it simple. But when it's absolutely intrinsic, when it is a part and parcel of the meaning of the scene, and you have to do it, then you need to. So the way you do it then is to understand the relationship of it. So you go like if there's a kiss or a slap or something like that, you go, what does it mean? You know, can I take a second and talk about that in in an audition setting, in a Zoom setting? Sometimes you just sorry. Sometimes you just absolutely need to uh, kiss, like it's an absolute to the scene, or get shot by get a gunshot or something, and you go, okay, I'm not gonna like make out with the camera or like act like I'm bleeding or whatever. So what you do is you stop and you go, what's my relationship to um, you need a roommate. You go, oh, that's it was in the which class was it where who was it that his wife was slapping him in the face during the scene? That was the producers, right? Yeah, yeah, that was great. Yeah, Brandon's wife slapped him. She was under the table and would go, and the hand would show up and slap him. It was great. She thanked me. She sent me an extra check. Um,
like
uh,
on the Naked Gun. Remember that scene on the Naked Gun?
the Naked
We're
Gun.
going
Yeah.
the third half.
Nice. Um, uh, so, for example, if it's a kiss on in an audition, you got to stop and go, okay, what is the meaning of this kiss? Because a kiss can be the kiss of death. It can be the beginning of the romantic adventure. It can be connecting with your soulmate. It can be a betrayal. It can be a deeply resentful thing. It can be a fuck you. Like a kiss is not a kiss. It's just it depends on what it is. So you have to define what it means to your character, and then you have to emotionally prepare the meaning of that kiss, and then it gives it value, you know. So the slap is not so as much important as what does the slap mean to him. So if you all want to know when you're auditioning, what you do is you don't actually do the kiss. You prepare the before and the after, and so it's a long, long time coming terror of expressing your vulnerability because you don't want to be rejected. And then when she kisses you, it's all my dreams come true. And you have to prepare those two sides of it, allow for the realization, and then have the secondary emotion. So that's how you do a kiss on camera. Or a gunshot, like if you get shot, that can mean lots of different things. It could be, you're taking my child's father away. It could be a betrayal. It could be a thank you, like for taking me out of this life that's causing me so much pain. You know what I mean? Like you need to figure out what the emotionality of it is, and then the before, the realization of it, and then the after. And once
What
you
about a hug?
a hug would be the same thing. I mean, really, the truth of it is, we're defining the craft of acting. The craft of acting is anything that your character does. You're figuring out the before, the realization, and the after, and then which is the 3 act structure of any moment, and then what does it mean to you emotionally? But when it's so huge, like a slap, so what does it mean for him to slap her, and what does it mean after? And if you can figure that emotional thing going, then you'll play that, and then all you have to do is do this across the frame, and then Tenzing allows herself the emotional reaction of what it is, and then comes back. But if you overplay that, oh, you hit me, it's just we don't need to worry about that, you know. Like, and not especially not in a class setting, because on set we would either have a stunt performer or a fancy way to film it, or we'd be like, okay, Tenzing, unclamp your jaw, get ready, we're doing this in one take. You're gonna take one on the chin for the show. And sometimes when you're watching a film and you're seeing Meryl Streep get slap somebody in the face, whatever, she's really doing it, and it's just like, okay, woo, and that's it, that's the take, and then you move on, right? You can't do that night after night on stage, or you'll kill yourself. Although apparently John Turturro and actors whose name I always forget, they were smashing the shit of each other every night. So, does that help? So I honestly like having, they were doing The Producers, which was a comedy. So seeing a hand come up and hit him was hilarious in context. But, Danny the Deep Blue Sea is not necessarily a knee slapper. So if I'm auditioning, the best way to set up a hit is to actually blow the frame with my hand. So if I go, it has a certain violence to it, and if I follow through, and if Tenzin can go, if you can figure out that Tenzin is going the same direction as the hit and then comes back, then it'll all make sense for us, But you've got to set up Tenzin the emotional meaning and relationship to the hit, which is fascinating for her because hers is very different. Hers is oh yes, I understand, I forgive him, I move on. Like in a microsecond, she's like, I get it, I don't take it personally, I'm moving on. Anybody else would be like, fuck you, ow, Hers is, she's like, no, he's slapping me because he's scared, but because I'm getting to him, and I'm getting to him, which means I'm getting into his heart. My objective is to get into his heart. And the more he slaps me, the closer I am to breaking him. And you're like, oh boy, I thought she's a hero. Yeah, if I'm the one slapping, I have to have an emotional reason for my slap, understand it, and then go across frame and hit, and I do that. And actually blow frame. And if I'm in an audition setting and my reader's there, I make sure that I'm going across the camera like that, because it does feel like something's, like to the audience member, this moment of that is actually really quite jarring. It's instantaneous, but watch, if I go like that, for a second you went, which gives the audience the feel for it. So yeah, you do. It's just simple, I think the getting hit stuff is really silly. Like, I wouldn't do that. Getting hit is an emotional thing, and hitting is an emotional thing. You don't have to overplay it. Everybody knows it's with, in a class setting, audition setting, we all know it's the circumstances that are not, we also don't have a real helicopter or machine guns or whatever it is in our scenes. So we just, we imagine. Does anybody else have a question about their scenes or anything? Hit me.
Uh,
oh, that was so good, dude. Monty, you learn well.
the ending, because Abby and I were practicing, and who wins the scene? Because in the end, he breaks down and starts crying, and the last line is that I reach out, but it's too late to wipe his tears. Like, I take my hand to reach out for Born on the 4th of July. Do I win this scene?
I don't have the scene in front of me. I believe our analysis is that he wins the scene, because the second act is she does this whole talk about the future and dreams and plans and things, and he wants to pull it back to.
Yeah, he has that big monologue in the end, and the last line
monologue is about, I love you, I
Yeah.
loved you, and that's why I did it. And he's kind of ashamed, and he breaks down crying, and she reaches out and touches him. And from the audience's point of view, or from the writer or the director's point of view, it's too late. But from the character point of view, when she shows him any kind of love and solace about his pain in the past, she's gone back to the past, which is against her objective. So
Okay.
it seems to me that she loses the scene.
Okay, and for R&Ds, a lot of times we're getting each other's signals wrong, the characters.
Yeah.
So for I know my realizations are that, and then he decides in the same way. But because he's getting my signals wrong and I'm getting his signals wrong, do we realize different things, or do we still realize they're the
Yeah, you're realizing different things. You're
okay.
My example is I have a new computer, by the way, and I'm hoping the light's okay. It's a better camera apparently, so maybe my beard is in 3D now, or HD 800 or something. My example would be, he is a loving, open-hearted, generous man who has a lot of redemption in his life, and he really adores her, and he wants to cherish her and make her feel loved. And so his decision is to say, I love you, and fill her with joy and love. Hers is, she's been betrayed so many times that she hurts, and she knows every man is full of shit. And when she looks at him, she looks at him through a lens of a suspicion. And I love you is code for I'm going to fuck you over. So she says, fuck you. And the scene goes, I love you, fuck you. See, and you're like, what the? And it doesn't, they're not matching up. And they're not matching up because they have different biases. And they see, so they misread each other's intentions. And that's great writing. Great writing is when you can keep the characters moving forward in their different conversations, and they don't actually see each other for who they are, because that's a lot like life, you know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're too young to probably know that, but anybody who's been married or been through stuff, or maybe family counseling, or one of the techniques of family counseling or couple counseling is the one person says what they feel. I feel so pushed down by my dad. You know, they say it. And then it's like, okay, good. Now the other person has to repeat back what they said. So that the wife says her truth, and then the husband hears it, and then the husband has to say back what they said, what she said, and then the wife has to go, yeah, that's what I said. And the truth of it is that it's like the husband never gets it right. She's like, I feel that. He goes, what she said is this. And she's like, I didn't say that. And he's like, yeah, you said that. He's like, did you say that? And then you look at the therapist's like, she didn't say that. And then the husband says what his truth. And she's like, what you're saying is that and I was like, I never said that. And then the therapist was like, nope, she never said that. And you actually have to, sometimes it takes 5, 6 attempts for the person to go, that's what you're saying? Like they can't hear each other. Because the glass of bias is so thick that you can't actually hear or see them for what they really are. And so that happens in your characters all the time. Your characters are not listening with their true selves. They're listening through a little management committee that's reinterpreting what's coming in order to protect them. That was an extremely salient and very important sentence, but I don't know if anyone caught that. That's because it's you're doing. It's sometimes acting's fucking scary, eh? Because I'll say, you know, your characters are often doing this, and I can see some of the actors go, ooh, ooh. Because you know you do that too, and your parents and your wives and your husbands and your boyfriends. So yeah, we often don't listen from our true selves. We listen from our prejudiced selves because our little managers are trying to deal with the situation to protect us, and so we don't actually hear it correctly. And a part of acting, what we do for 30%, you're very generous. A part of our acting job, what we're doing in these classes through the 4 weeks, is getting the actor to be in a place of true self, and an actor be in a place of true openness, so that the character come in, and then the character can have their biases, but the actor can't. And so last week I talked about curiosity, and it's like and compassion, and it's about finding yourself in a place where you the actor are open and settled and grounded and authentic, and all your little managers are quiet, and you can actually be there, so that then the character can come in and be a complete shit show. Bafka can be a complete like misread everything and biased and page 80, what's it?
82.
Not even close. Oh my God. I'm the wrong one.
It's in part 2.
I gotta get used to not having a screen that I can just do this with and making it bigger. I'm not sure how I'm gonna deal with that. Part 2.
Yeah. 82.
Woo-wee. So now it's actually 2 different scenes, right?
Yeah, because they leave and they go outside.
Yeah. So starting on this scene. 4 students have been killed at Kent State, da da da. So the loudspeaker sets the tone. Just Donna pushes Ron past the quad where students are gathering, exchanging information, tells me right off the bat the writer's saying Donna's going to lose the scene. Because the loudspeaker is the one setting this objective.
Yeah.
Donna's pushing Ron. Ron then is trying to talk about, he talks about the future because that's what
Yeah, he completely ignores what the loudspeaker said.
Yes, completely. But he is also talking about well, kind of opens up her whole future. Then he talks about his future. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should. Is that end of Act 1 right there?
It ends right in the end when Ron gives that big monologue.
Well, that's the end of the scene. That's Act 3.
Yeah, that's Act 3.
So Act 2 is all her shit.
I thought it starts here, Act 2, when he starts singing to her, "Sing Remember."
No, that's beginning of Act 3. Act 1 is the loudspeaker. She sets the tone, and he changes it to, "I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get out of Massapequa. I can't handle it," you know. And then he's like, "What? Are you seeing anybody? You have a boyfriend?" Because that's the end of Act 1. Is he's trying to like connect with her boyfriends and girlfriends. She changes the subject completely to everything, Gandhi and civil disobedience and being proud about it being a woman, right?
Yeah.
And she says, "Join us and make a difference. We need people like you." That's the end of Act 2. That's her high point. That's her objective. She actually states her objective. I want him to join me politically. Yeah. And then he goes, "Different conversation. Let's talk about Moon River." And then this monologue. So that's Act 3. So he most definitely, absolutely, without any doubt, wins this scene. The writer has written, Donna sets the objective and loses it.
Okay.
And then he sets the objective about romance. Are you seeing a boyfriend? She resets the conversation into politics and blatantly, like without any subtlety, speaks her objective at the end of Act 2, which he then completely rips apart and doesn't even spend any time with and does all. And in the end, he said, "I love you," and she's got her hands on him. And that was his objective. But the reason why you felt it's like a qualified objective is, despite the fact that she has a boyfriend, she's interested in politics, she's not the same woman I ever had before, and I have no penis. So, sorry. Yeah. So he's like, he won the scene, but it's a deeply qualified win. Whereas hers is, she lost the scene because she's not talking about politics. She's not talking about
anymore. Yeah.
Under the cause. She's not talking about anti-war movements. They're talking about Moon River and the prom and his love for her. And she has her hand on him, despite the fact that there's no way that it's going to be romantic between the two of them, emotionally, psychologically, physically. Like, it's impossible. And in the end, she is going to enlist him to the cause. So she wins the scene, but she loses this scene, she loses this battle, but she wins the war of their relationship. You understand?
I was doing research in 1968. America was so unwell as a country.
Yeah.
The videos I've seen about the killings and about everything that was happening, I don't even know how things have changed in 2020 and 1968. I feel like it's the exact same thing, if not worse.
Now or then?
Now, and I'm just saying, like, with the whole National Guards coming out and the protests.
Mess. The world is America is a mess, and it was one of the highest moments of, like, 67 is historically for not the Black Lives Movement didn't exist, but for colored lives, for Black lives, an incredible low point in American history. And it was the Vietnam War, and it was death, and it was the smothering of the civil rights movement. And meantime, when you ask white people, what's 1967? They go, "Oh, the summer of love." And you're like, "Yeah, it's because you're white that you remember." It's like, it was Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Beatles. And you're like, yeah. That's not what America was. That's what America wanted to be. So yeah. Anyway, good one. We worked that one out. Cyclical mess. Yeah, cyclical. I don't know. Good. Somebody, blue hand, Bilal. Blue hand.
Yes. So, how do I state this question about our scene? And I know me and Luke having, and I'm having my own issues with understanding the motive of the character. Just because, like, I heard what you were saying last week, and I wish I would record. Then I would have watched it again to get more clarity. Um, but I feel like when I'm reading it, it's like telling me something else because I'm seeing little piece of evidence towards the otherwise. Like, um, you say that Jack won, and I say that like I said that Frank won, and like the reason why I feel like that matters is because like if I think that Frank won, but it's really Jack won, then oh shit, I really don't know the objectives of this scene.
That's
so
right.
so so that's why I'm really like, ooh, got make sure this is right. Um, so I guess I could ask like a question like, why does Jack, and this is like huge for me, like Tim could tell you, why does Jack walk away? You know, like if his objective is to really, tell him to I don't want to be a part of this group no more, then like he does a lot of like giving up halfway, and like he even starts like that. And the only thing I could really think of, and I still need to like really understand it, is if he's like trying to summon up the courage to do it throughout the scene, like a love scene or something like that, for example, when like they want to say I love you at the end, but they just like too afraid to. Yeah, so yeah, I was just
Yeah,
thinking.
no, I think you've nailed it. Uh, okay, below. Anytime you start going, I'm confused about who wins or who loses the scene, go back to the construction, which is what I just did for Born on the 4th of July. And then anytime you're looking at the structure, the construction of a scene, dumb yourself down. That's actually not very fair because I think my 13-year-old's smarter than most people I know. But anyway, go back to when you were a kid and go, just like the scene is this, then this, then this. What happens? Like, what happens exactly? So Jack is walking away. Frank tries to stop him, and Jack basically tells Frank he's a loser, right?
Yeah.
So then Frank has a big old speech about, um, is that right? What's the three-act structure? Frank lectures Jack on responsibility. Jack annihilates Frank. What's the three-act structure of that scene? What happens
So
when what happens?
basically, you're right about the first act. The second, and now I was like looking at it, I wasn't 100% sure whether it's like the end of the first act or the beginning of the second anymore. But he does lecture him. He does like take his liquor bottle away, but then Jack walks away, and then Frank um, provokes him with the truth about him and the girl, and then um, Jack hits back, and they basically get into a like insult contest about who's more important in the group. Frank gets it hits a insecurity, and Frank gets angry, and then Jack just unleashes, and then he leaves the group and the scene.
Yeah, my understanding of the scene, that's right. My understanding of the scene is Jack's objective is to break up with his brother. And if you think of it as a love scene, Jack is walking from Frank. Jack walked out on the gig. Jack can't take his brother anymore, and Jack wants to free himself of his brother and like um, be allowed to go fuck up anything he wants and mess everything he wants up, and follow his passion. But the problem is in doing so, he's sacrificing all of his responsibilities. And like a love scene, like any love scene, he's having a really hard time leaving because it's his brother. So instead of just like bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, and then just leave, he stops to have the big conversations because he can't not have it out with his brother because in the end he loves his brother and he owes his brother and his brother is responsible and his brother is the one that takes care of him. But Jack can't. But Jack's objective is to get the fuck out. He can't take it anymore. He's so humiliated. He wants to go off and live a more passionate life. Whereas Frank's is to get his brother under control, teach him some morals, teach him to have integrity, teach him to have responsibility, and to smarten up. Though in the end, Frank would love to follow his passion of punching his brother in the face and throwing his whole fucking life away too. He just can't do it. And so if I go, okay, Frank's like, in Life is a House on Wednesday. That's Wednesday, right, Martin? When's Life is a House? Is that tonight? It's tonight.
That's tonight.
It's all just one gigantic class. Oh yeah, that's right. It's Atlee. Like Atlee's objective. Last week I said, "Don't think too hard. What's your objective?" And you're like, "To get the drugs." Really. Like in a lot of ways, it's like sometimes the objective is simplistic. The reasoning underneath it and the relationship is so complex. So I think Frank's objective is pretty simple: to lecture his brother into being more responsible. And by the end of it, the brother's like, "Fuck you," beats him up and walks away. So you're like, I think Frank pretty much lost that objective. It's Jack's objective that becomes harder to understand. And I think it's because Jack's objective is one that he doesn't deep down really believe in. It's just it's an emotional objective.
You see, that's why, because like that was actually the nugget I needed about things as a love scene. But like that's why I get confused and thinking is he acting on his counterpoint or his objective? And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's acting on his objective. The objective is to push his brother. Jack's objective: push his brother away, get freedom to go follow his passions, and that includes humiliation, self-destruction. Excuse my language, but it's the scene. Fucking whoever he wants, doing drugs, and not being a very good friend. Right? Like Jack wants to go be himself and be free, even though a lot of that's not very good for him. But he doesn't. The reason why he doesn't just walk, get in a cab, and go, yeah, bye, and leave, is because he loves his brother and knows that his brother is right about a whole bunch of shit, which is, I don't take responsibility. I am coddled by my brother. I hardly do anything in life. I don't take any. I have no integrity. You know what I mean? And it's like, I fucked up. I fucked the girl, and I shouldn't have. And I should be more thoughtful, you know? Because in the end, excuse my language, it's horrible, but that's the scene. That's what they say. He canoodles with the girl, and in so doing, now I'm cleaning up my language. That's weird, eh? By messing with the girl, he messed with the group, and that's like the final straw for Frank. Frank is like, the final straw is walking out on this tennis balls thing, but actually where Frank cracked was that you just couldn't keep it in your pants. Like, we had a good thing going, we were making money, my children were going to school, we were enjoying ourselves, and you had to go fuck it up. Like, you fuck up everything because you don't take anything responsibly. That's actually, I think, Frank's real motivation for the entire scene. And that's Jack's actual counterpoint. Jack's like, who I don't fuck is none of your business. It's like, it's childish. It's like, yeah, except when it fucks up my business, it is. Like, you can't do that. There's no integrity in that. You can't seduce our singer and then break up with her and throw her out of the group. Like, you can't do that. So that's Frank's objective, and by the end of it, Frank's fingers are broken, he's sobbing, he's lying in the fucking gutter, his tuxedo's covered in shit and gravel and water because his brother's throwing down on the cement, and the brother's like, fuck you, I'm out, and leaves. You go, yeah, Frank lost that scene. Like, in a huge way, Frank lost that scene. Right. You go, but what did Jack win? And I go, consciously, Jack won his freedom. Consciously, Jack won the opportunity to go do whatever the fuck he wants. Even if it's bad for me, I can go do it. Canoodling, it's a great word. It's kind of like, it's sex in a canoe. Isn't there a drink called sex in a canoe? Anyway, canoodling. Michelle thinks that's funny. Look, she's laughing. So he's getting his freedom to follow his passions. Unfortunately, he does know that a lot of that's wrong in his counterpoint, which is why he's in the scene. The reason why there'd be no scene if Jack didn't actually love his brother and know his brother was right. He would just be gone. That's the point. But Jack wins the scene. It's just where we get confused, all of you actors, is when the character's objective is not good for them. That's a big point. A lot of people get confused. They're like, but why would my character want to do this? And I'm like, because they're a human being. We often chase after things that are absolutely wrong for us. And I say this often to my group. There's 19 of you. I go, how many of you have ever done something willingly, consciously that you know is bad for you? Yeah. Now, how many of you done that today? You're like, oh, I never do that, or like talking to the wrong priest and go, yes, mom, you're right, or there's a bunch of stuff you're doing all day long. Or like, oh, but I'll never make it as an actor. I'm like, you're hurting. Stop hurting yourself. So Jack's doing something that's actually not right for him. And that's why it's confusing to us. Right, Luke? Yeah. Got it?
Yeah, thanks. That cleared up a lot.
That's great. Okay.
Thanks.
Hello, actors. How many of you are so far off book that you would never even have to think about your dialogue for the entire scene? Wow, that instills so much confidence. Okay. What I would like you to do is I would like you to spend a brief amount of time with your acting partner, your scene partner. And what I'd like you to do is I would like you to choose, a bunch of you know how to do this, it works extremely well for Zoom. I'd like you to choose the operative emotional moment. Is that what I called it last month, Tim? The OEM? And Tenzing did this with me last month. You take the section of the scene where you go, this is the emotional climax. The emotional climax may not be the structural climax. It depends on the scene. Sometimes the character blows up and freaks out in the first act, and then the second and third act are them getting calmer. For example, Atlee's scene. Atlee's emotional climax for his scene is the "Where'd you put it?" It's the very first line. You know, if I had a gun, I'd kill you. It's that shit. And then probably for Martin, it would be the monologue, right? But we'll air to Atlee, okay, Martin? So you find the section where you go, this is the high point where my character is emotionally expressing themselves the most. And then I need that thing to be outrageously memorized. Like that you guys are super, I don't have to think. Because at the second you reach into system 2 and go, what's my dialogue? Then system 1 shuts down and emotions live in system 1. And dialogue begins in system 2 and then has to be filtered down to system 1. Do you all understand? We're going to do this thing. How many scenes are there? 8? 8 scenes or 7 scenes today? 8, I think. No, 7. Okay. So, Abby and Bavka. Yeah? And Bilal and, where is he? Bilal and Luke. And, did I say Martin and Atlee? Did I do that yet? No, Martin and Atlee. And, what other scenes do I have? Monty and Tenzing, correct? And Daly and Mr. Gregory Walker, correct? If I say something that's incorrect, stop me. Matt Brown, are you Matt Brown or Matt Brown phone? Are you in this class for Wednesday? You're in this class. Matt Brown, yeah. And who's your partner again? Allison McClintock. No.
Melissa.
Melissa, that's what I meant. I knew that. So Melissa, okay. And
I have one question about the OEM.
yes, I'll tell it. Yeah, go for it.
Is there one OEM or does each character have their own?
I need to, so in this case, we need to pick one. So, and that's a very good question. Sorry, Allison and Jack, right? Is that correct? Right. And the rest of you, Kevin, Matt, Brown phone, Michelle Gallagher, and Tim, you guys are auditing. So Monty, for this exercise, in a classic scene, in an easy classic scene, Rachel getting married or something, they're not easy, they're hard. But you know, in a sort of easy structured scene, the moment is the moment of the flipping of the table. You go, we're both losing it at this point. In a little more complex scene, you're gonna have one character losing when the other one's not. Then you gotta sort of stop and you have to sort of negotiate with each other. And so in the case of Martin and Atlee, that for me, Martin's gonna say, I'm fine with my emotional preparation. I'm a longtime actor and I've got it. And Atlee, let me help you with yours. Why don't we do yours, you know? Danny, the Deep Blue Sea though, I would say the emotional OEM in that case is for the same. is the same for both. That was not English. When you're basically that I'm breathing. No, you're not. You know, you're hot. I can see your heart. No, I can't breathe. You know, I'm the beast. You're not. Like it's that section. I guess it's probably Act 3C. It probably is the climax of the scene. So you guys, do you understand, Melissa Paulson?
So in Frankie and Johnny, it would be she's speaking her emotional truth right at the beginning. I mean, it's not the emotional climax, but no, okay.
Yeah, the operative emotional moment is the moment where you're most emoting, you're expressing yourself emotionally. So it's the biggest emotional moment. It's when the breakdown of the cry.
Yeah, when I throw the shoe.
Yelling at each other, and you know, I try to avoid hard acting words, the ones that are hard to act. So for me, it's like the emotional peak. So.
Okay.
For her character, it's most definitely that I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm scared, I'm so scared, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that. Like that's her big emotional moment. That the rest of the scene, she's basically been holding on to that. The get out is a big expressive emotional moment.
Okay,
you'll notice that it's the end of Act 1 and then the end of Act 3. That's actually archetype. But for me, it would be for her, I'm so scared, I'm afraid of everything, I'm afraid. And his like, holy fuck, I did not get this, right? And so I would say you would, for Frankie and Johnny, you want to air to that moment because that's the most emotional moment of the scene. So let's work on, that's Act 3.
That's 3.
Yeah, or basically Act 3. I want to show you something not to the I can't, to up until the I can't, until Act 3, A and B. Does anyone else have a question about it?
Thank you.
For Abby and my scene, we'll have 2 different ones for sure, right? Because there's a lot happening in this scene. This scene starts emotionally where I'm holding back my tears.
Yeah, I would definitely say though it's the end of the second half of the monologue, and because for her it's the emotional realization she's horrified by, see, we're doing it now, I'm actually jumping ahead, but she's horrified by having to go back to that past. She hates that past. She resents and regrets that past, and he's reminding her of it. So it makes her kind of sick to think about these things. On the other hand, she feels so guilty that this man got himself blown up for her. So when he's crying at the end of the monologue is actually her emotionally biggest moment. So despite the fact that it's his dialogue, so I would just say that the monologue, and it makes it easy for you for memorization.
The second half of Act 3, yeah.
Yeah. Does everyone kind of get it? Any other questions? So while you're in there, working with your character and your actor, and you're going, okay, what's the operative emotional moment? For Bhavka, it'll be easy because it's all Abby, so help him. But make sure that both actors are unbelievably off book, because if you have a moment's hesitation of thinking, we're down. And I'd rather do one small section of the scene that's completely surrendered emotionally and sets up the potential for the emotional the rest of the scene than run the whole scene at 40%. I've never, ever, ever understood that, and I refuse to accept that in my class. Like, as soon as I'll be running, emotionally prepping somebody, and then you guys will start the scene, and then 3 lines in, I go, stop, because you can feel them starting to think. And as soon as they start to think, they're going to start manufacturing, they're setting a performance, and they're cementing roadblocks to their surrender later. So I'm just like, okay, as long as you know you've got the emotional potential for the scene, now go get it outrageously practiced. Yeah, we understand that? Everyone understand that? Good. Figure it out, the section. 1, 2, practice it, rehearse the dialogue until you, and if that's all you have to do, because you're like, fuck, I don't know my dialogue, then get it down now. You got like 5 minutes to get it down. But the third thing is, if you've gone through and you've had time, then take a second to go, what's your emotional core? What's your character's emotional core, you think? Or I think my emotional core is, and start emotionally preparing. And for those of you who do it with me all the time, you got it. For those of you who are kind of somewhat new to it, don't worry, we're going to walk you through it. But start now with what's my character's core emotional narrative? What's their emotional story? This is chapter 3 stuff, right? 3. My character's emotional core. What do I know about that in my life, and what's the imagery that's involved? How am I emotionally triggering myself tonight to be in my character's place? Everyone understand? Great, good. I'm going to give you like 10 minutes. What do you think? Okay, you should all be going now. No? Move. Move to. What have I done? Are you going now? There you go. Bye-bye. Have fun. See you later. Hey guys. We may as well just have a chat.
Yeah, how's it going?
Unmuted.
Did you get my text by any chance, Matthew?
I think Michelle Gallagher just yelled out, "I'm muted," which of course is...
No, I said I'm unmuted, which was like, look out, kind of like, are you sure this is a good idea?
What was your, Tim, what was your email about what?
So
Oh, hang on a second.
actually
One sec. Melissa, are you okay? Nope, there she goes. That was weird. The feedback from people is that the breakout room thing is really cool. That it works really well.
wait, there's a room. I didn't...
What's that?
Nothing. But my text was just basically about so the last class on Wednesday, I actually won't be able to be there, and like
The
all
last class on Wednesday.
like I have to leave.
Wait. Is that Michelle's room? Start that again, Tim. I couldn't hear anything.
So I start training for my new job on the last Wednesday of the last Wednesday class. And so I had two options of what I could do. I could record the scene and like send it in, and then we can do that in class. Or if I could possibly go first on Wednesday, because I don't have to be there until 3:15. But class
3:15. What's our time difference, you and I? 2 hours?
2 hours. Yeah.
So you have to be just in and out. All right. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So,
Do you think you can make it?
I don't mind walking and talking and doing it like in public.
Oh, that's not good.
So
Classes here.
so it's like I could either record or just do the scene real quick and then go off to work.
Why don't you? Oh, Tony probably can't do a Thursday night because of
Yeah, probably not because of the time difference.
time difference.
I mean, but she's an insomniac, so maybe she.
I would not be because it's Tony and you. I would not be adverse to you guys showing that scene in the grad class because you are a grad actor and she's really good.
Yeah, she is. Okay.
Or you go up first. I feel like for those, I take very seriously. Hi, Casey. I take very seriously people who are in their Wednesday class. They're also following your progress. It's a bit of a cheat sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to avoid we did it in another class because you're like, I've been watching for 3 weeks. I've been invested in seeing your guys' performance.
Yeah.
So if you can do it on a Wednesday, it'd be better. I leave it up to you. As long as you can do it. Wait. So what time? My time. What time would you have to be out?
So your time, I would have to be out.
Oh no, it won't work.
1:15.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I would start. So what I can do is I can run Zoom on my phone and then just put in my headphones and like walk around the neighborhood and like accuse Tony of, or like get the truth out of him.
A, you'll be arrested. B, it's gonna throw Tony.
That's fair.
Option B. So option A is we start class at 12 o'clock. I go, everybody, nobody talk, no talks. We're not having a talk. One scene is up, and then we'll warm everybody else up after. And you guys knock the scene out.
Yeah.
How long are you from your work?
I'm about 30 minutes. So yeah, it's like really. So I could like.
It's really tight.
And I can also Uber. It's fine. I don't.
Or you could have recorded it, and
Yeah.
so I start my class with a recording and an analysis, and then you could be walking your ass off anywhere you want because you guys are showing me performance.
Yeah.
I think, Tim, I think it comes down to either you guys record your performance,
Mhm.
and I'll analyze a recording of a performance for your week 4.
Okay.
And we'll do that right at 12 o'clock. But again, you could be walking with your headset because you're not going to perform it.
Right.
That will have been your performance, and then I'll critique your performance.
Cool.
Or talk Tony Jean into doing it on Thursday of week 4. Okay.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. Cool. Thank you, man.
That's great.
All the things, man.
You talking to me, Casey? Is it odd? Do I just go? Am I going? I'm one of those people. You know those people who like they make sounds when they eat. I'll do it when I'm having a conversation. I'll be like, "Listen, it's absolutely unfair." Of Trump too. Of the fact that there was an execution today in Alabama. It's like so weird. Now Kevin's doing it. Anyway, our breakout room's funny. I'm eating chocolate. It's half my
Where did everybody go?
chat rooms. Not chat rooms. Isn't that a sex thing? Breakout room.
Oh, this is a new thing.
Yeah, I'm letting them actually have time to figure it out.
I'm like, what happened?
It's beautiful. Kevin, I love it. It's so good with the hair and the whole
Yum.
blueberries. Those are blueberries?
Yes, organic.
I love organic. Yeah, they're all in a room with their partner.
Nice.
I try to shift up like each class. Sometimes I come in and I show a video, and we all cry about the video. And I thought that the class that we had where we were studying emotional behavior, and we watched some very moving videos. Everybody's really emotional, and then we did an emotional class. And sometimes it's like I'll do everybody working on the same emotional preparation. And then sometimes I just go that no emotional prep. We're just doing the scenes. Do it.
Okay, cool. I didn't know
And
that.
then today I'm doing which I think works really well for Zoom. Is in acting class. I break people into pairs, and then I say, drill your operative emotional moment with your partner, and then come back and we'll emotionally prep you. And then some classes, which I might do for Wednesday. Because Wednesday is Amber, Mark, Mariah, Simon, Rachel, Lana, Sung Hee, Tyla, Linnea's new, Jackson, Tony, Tim, Athena, and Jeannie are both new too. Jenny spelled odd. I was thinking of doing a breakout room for them, but different. That kind of Casey, like in class, where it's like 2 actors who are not partners. Say, go off in this room and discuss your emotional preparations with each other and walk it through. I might do that for tomorrow's class because there's a lot of
boy. Questions. Speaking of Wednesday, did you get my email about Wednesday next month? Does that work?
Yeah, you're on the list. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so I can do it. Perfect.
You can do it. You just sign up anytime you want because you're in.
Okay.
Sometimes just a little bit as a teacher, I will confess that it gets a little arbitrary, this like waitlist thing. Like it's somewhat arbitrary. Every once in a while I go, geez, I feel like that guy, like the you and your friend come into the bar at the, but I sort of base my my who's at the top of the wait list by A, who's at the top of the wait list, and then B, who's a campus member, because I say to the waitlisters, like, go become a campus member and study it, and then I'll look them up, and then I'm like, well, they haven't studied it, so. And then the third one is somebody's like auditing and involved and has been in class, and I'm like a Michelle, I'm like, well, I'll kick somebody else out of class to get you in there.
Question though, because I was gonna do this month. I paid for it already, so when I
right,
up,
you're already in August. That's right. Thanks
I don't have to do anything else.
I have you written down. Yeah.
Thank you. Yay.
Let's just while you're talking. I'll just make sure that that's true. Hey, Martin, you guys have a question or?
I don't know. I mean, about the only question I have about the physicality of I have to push him a couple times, and it has to happen because sort of in the scripted way that it has to happen. And I've just been sort of doing like this and then doing like this for the bigger push, and I'm not sure how else to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's.
And then there's also a place when we have a chainsaw that's supposed to happen, and I sort of, I have this.
Wait a second, I'm getting such cross input right now.
Yeah.
That's good. Do the chainsaw. I love it.
All right.
And then also you're going to have to follow away from the camera and bash the shit out of stuff, the both of you. It'll be great. I'll get to that in a second. Casey, are you engaged and getting married? I didn't know that. Did I know that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did know that. I've been engaged for over a year.
Oh, right.
You did know that. At the retreat last year, I had just gotten engaged.
Right. But
yeah,
we've been waiting for a long. So you have a date now.
Yeah.
June 30th, 2029. That's great.
21.
2021. No, I read that wrong. That's commitment, man.
But 2029,
Hey, boys, you feel like you're ready? You got it?
Who, us? Yeah, I think so.
You come back with a question. Atlee, do you know the character's core emotional truth?
Kind of, I think. I don't know.
Well, try me out. What do you think?
Like abandonment and I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my file just showed up that I was looking for. Sorry, one moment. I'm so sorry. While I remember this, Tuesday, Michelle in August. Wednesday in August, right? Michelle Gonzalez paid? Yeah, okay, you're already on this. Yes. The one person that's supposed to love me the most, my father, has never showed an interest in me and has abandoned me and made me feel unlovable. And then meantime, his mom's plastic and his stepdad is a moron, and he's enraged at the world for the world not loving him, but specifically because his dad has been a bit of a deadbeat. So I'm angry because my father doesn't love me. Something like that, right? Would you agree with that, Martin? That's his emotional core?
Yeah. Well, it's abandonment and feeling like he needs to. It's also it's this escape self-destruction thing, and that's part of how he's dealing with the abandonment.
Yeah, the pain. The self-destruction is the reaction to the pain.
Yeah.
So, but it's the pain of I feel like my dad doesn't love me, because by the end of it, it's hurt, not anger. Even though you just I want you to smash the shit out of things and then break down with God, all that. Now that a lot of times, some people, Carrie disagrees with this one, but I've read a bunch of literature that sees it both ways, or I don't think we disagree. I think it's actually just semantics. However, a lot of times, let's just say that, anger is actually a secondary emotion and not the primary emotion. That the anger is a defense mechanism on top of the pain. And once you've exhausted your anger, that's when the pain comes out. So you scream, fuck, 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 and you smash shit. And then when you're done smashing shit and the rage has exhausted itself, then the pain comes, because that's what's really underneath. And I think that's what's going on with him. I want him to smash the shit out of stuff and then exhaust himself, and then pain comes out.
Well, I think they're he's inviting him. George is inviting Sam to let's beat our fathers together.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
I'll beat mine and you beat yours.
Yeah, and then we'll.
The symbol is the house, right?
We'll exhaust ourselves so
Are they
much.
doing a scene right now?
What's that?
I think just Martin's there.
No, yeah, just somebody just dropped in. So they asked me a question. I don't know who. Are you talking to your partner? They just dropped in to ask a question. I'll bring everybody out in a second. I can send messages, eh? I'm gonna send a message to him.
Oh, I think he said I'm gonna bring everybody out. So maybe he does have control.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to shout.
Yeah. So do you have that, Atlee? Have you kind of started ruminating on what that's about for you?
Started, yeah.
Okay. It's the pain underneath. The anger, interestingly, I don't know, for most actors, it might be different from you, but for most actors, and not to be completely pejorative, you want to see what I have a mouse now because I got a new computer, so I have to have a mouse pad. You want to see what I use as my mouse pad? So great. The original shooting script for The Usual Suspects. I know. It's like, isn't that great? Keeps me inspired. Yeah, it's a little bit of a gender thing, and it's a little bit of a generalization, but in general, getting a male angry is not that hard. Getting them into pain and vulnerability is much more difficult. Now, I personally think that it's a social thing that's changing. And it was more so 20 years ago, more so 40 years ago, more so 100 years ago, and going to be a lot less so in my son's generation. But I think the way to approach this is find the pain, and then once you found the pain, protect the pain through the anger. The "fuck you, I want my drugs back" is a lot easier to act than "how come you didn't love me?" That's really hard. So that's what you got to do today, okay? How come my daddy doesn't love me? Just to really break it down. And Martin, what's yours?
Feeling of inadequacy, right? That my dad didn't love me and neglected me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pass that on.
Very good.
Right?
You specifically know about that, hey?
Well, I know about that. You know,
Wait. I want you to save the share for the class, but do you know where you're going to go for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With my dad in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Atlee, have you spoken to Martin about the emotional preparation of the scene yet, or no?
Not really, like very briefly.
Okay. Try to get to the heart of it, okay? Daly, what's his emotional core truth?
I was kind of walking in an area where I thought there was more human in him, more like what you were saying, vulnerability. But I think his emotional core truth is it's a tough world out there, but I'm white and have money, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right or not, but.
Yeah.
Or do you think there's more human in him, like more?
The core center of his humanity, we're going to talk about that, is that he hides behind "I'm white and I'm privileged" as a way to feel safe, because he feels inadequate and like a fraud. Like, I wonder if he feels like he's actually not a very good spy, and he got his job because he's privileged and
his dad had it before him or something.
Yeah,
like
we
that.
know nothing about this guy. All I get is he's prejudiced. He leads by being an asshole. He's pompous. He lords over his office, and he doesn't have a problem with having an affair with one of his employees. Or his employee's fiance, which is worse. It's Roger's fiance. So
Yeah.
It's not you're having an affair with Jacqueline, it's you're having an affair with Roger's fiance. So Roger works at one of the desks in his office, and he's having an affair with that guy's fiance. So there's some self-destruction inside of him. So I think maybe I know that I'm actually a fake, and I don't deserve anything, and that I actually hate myself, and therefore that's why I'm power hungry. That's why I'm control hungry, and that's why I need to be prejudiced. I mean, most prejudice, not most, well, a lot of prejudice comes from if I can put the other person down, then I feel better about myself, right?
Yeah.
So I would go into I don't really like myself much.
All right, yeah, because that is true. Because most prejudice and even like bullies and stuff are usually just bullies because someone bullied them, so they're just kind of following how they were treated.
Right.
So I guess it could just be, I'm not enough, and I'm really a fraud, so I'm just gonna bully and put myself above others.
Yeah. And Gregory, yours would be.
I'm not 100% sure that it's this, but I think it's I want revenge against because I'm being discriminated against, and
yeah, that fuck you world for making me feel stupid and small, whatever that means to you. Very good. We'll get that second. Think about what makes you feel stupid and small. And we're going to do this with the whole class in 2 seconds. I'm going to press this. But Tenzing and Monty, do you guys have your emotional core truths? Your character's emotional truth? How would you say it?
I would say my emotional core truth is that I am scared of myself and I don't feel like I deserve to be loved.
That's correct. And Tenzing's would be?
Mine is I'm desperate for love despite my intense shame and guilt of what I've done.
That's right. Do you guys know a little bit where you're working from?
Yeah, we read the play.
No. Do you know your emotional parallel, your emotional understanding of it?
Oh,
your personalization?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Hello.
Whew.
Boom. You okay there, Babka? How do you like the breakout room thing? I think it's great. Take a second, go over your client.
It was so cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I know. Next week, what I'm going to do, everybody, remind me, but next week what I'll do is I'll give you a little bit of time and I will break you out, but not with your scene partner, with somebody else. And you can help each other emotionally prepare with each other for your scenes, which is a great way to work it out. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Excellent. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, good. Danny in the Deep Blue Sea, run the section of dialogue you're going to do.
What do you mean by that?
You're gonna run a section of dialogue, which we're calling the operative emotional moment. We're gonna run one little section of dialogue tonight. What's the section of dialogue you're gonna run? Run it for me. Let me hear it.
Oh, do you want us to just say the lines or? Yeah.
I mean, say them to each other, but you're not emotionally prepped yet, so just do your best. Hey, I gave a talk, everybody, in the Thursday class on. It was somebody wonderful inspired me. Was it Melissa? Who inspired me about the cold reading thing? It was you, Tenzing, wasn't it? That I say read flat, read dead, read cold. No, it was Bhavika. Bhavika, you got me inspired about like why do I sometimes say that was a great read, and other times I'm like just read, don't worry about it. And that seems like a contradiction. I did an entire talk on it. I'll put it up on the Matt Talked, okay? Because I think you guys. Okay, good. All right, you guys ready? Run the dialogue for me.
You're muted, Tenzing.
Oh, yeah. I was saving your eyes for last. Your eyes are very dark and beautiful, and I don't know how to say things about them. And your heart, I can see your heart.
No.
Don't be scared, baby.
No, don't touch me. It burns.
Somebody hurt my baby. Somebody hurt him, and somebody hurt his hands, and somebody hurt his face. I love you, Danny. I love you.
I know you hurt, baby. I love you.
What are you doing to me?
I'm loving you.
Stop.
No,
It's too much.
come on.
I'm breathing.
No, you're not.
I'm breathing too much.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna die from this.
It's just an idea in your head. Look at me. Look at me.
You're good to be with.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
No, I can't.
You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm never gonna hurt you.
I'm the beast.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Why are you doing this for?
I'm not doing nothing you ain't doing too.
Yeah?
Great. That was great. Good. Very good. Do that again. Just like that. Dialogue. Before we emotionally prep it. Just the dialogue.
Okay.
And this time, lady and gentlemen, it should be about 75% shorter. It has to be as fast as you possibly can. So pick up each other's cues, overlap. There's no pausing. The whole thing is like a fucking freight train, okay? Just run the dialogue. Basically, run the dialogue tight. You don't have to, all of you who are working with me for the first time, when I'm like, pick it up, I don't necessarily mean speak quicker. I mean, shorten the intermittent cues to almost nothing, like overlap. Yeah?
And
So sometimes I go pick it up, pick it up. And so the actors start talking really quickly and they still pause. I'm like, no, that's not the idea. Okay?
Right.
So
but less acting?
Don't worry about it. Just dialogue. Dialogue fast. Go.
I was saving your eyes because your eyes are very dark and beautiful, and I don't know how to say things about them. You're hot. I can see you're hot.
No.
Don't be scared, baby.
No, don't touch me. It burns.
Somebody hurt my baby. Somebody hurt him. And somebody hurt his hands, and somebody hurt his face. I love you, Danny. I love you. I know you hurt, baby. I love you.
What are you doing to me?
I'm loving you.
Stop.
No.
It's too much.
Come on.
I'm breathing.
No, you're not.
I'm breathing too much.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna die from this.
It's just an idea in your head. Look at me. Look at me.
You're good to be with.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
No, I can't.
You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm never gonna hurt you.
I'm the beast.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Why are you doing this for?
I'm not doing nothing. You ain't doing too.
Yeah?
That's right.
Okay, very good. That was excellent. Good. Now, it's amazing, eh? Just a little bit of tempo, what it does for a scene. Okay. Tenzing. You start working, Monty. Tenzing. I'm going to look at my whole class for a second because I have mostly... No, there's a whole bunch of new people. Emotional preparation, you've all studied the chapter 3, right? Emotional preparation is the emotional core of the character, and you need to align yourself to the emotional core. Otherwise, you're not doing honor to the character, and you'll never have... If the story is a river, right, and the bends and twists of the river are the architecture, the fuel of the emotions of the story is the current, and you need to make sure that you have the current going. And what's extremely disconcerting to an audience is when they can hear there should be a current, but nothing's moving in the river, or the river's rushing, but it doesn't make any sense against what the scene is. So you have to be in the correct current. You can't just randomly, willy-nilly emotionally prepare. You need to be emotionally prepared for the scene itself. Emotional preparation is an absolute. And how you do it, of course, is you say, what's my character going through? So that I call that the emotional core. or the emotional core circumstances. Sometimes I call it the emotional story. I try to shift things around because you're going to hear different directors say it. But what's my character's core emotional truth? And once you've isolated that, you're like, well, you're actually a third of the way in. But oftentimes, if you're a really open, vulnerable person who's working on themselves in their private life and creating a beautiful artistic instrument, which is you, and you're living your life fully, when you start saying the emotional core, you're almost there already. And it's kind of a testament to grad actors, which is a lot of them. Bilal would be one of them, Casey would be one of them, Tim would be one of them, which is, although Allison's getting there too, which is I say, what's the scene about? And they go, well, it's about hanging on to love. Because you're like, okay, fine, just do the scene. Because it's like they're just saying the emotional core is triggering. And that's a lot of that's because they've done 30 scenes in the last 2 years and because they're constantly practicing, right? But you should never trust that. Just so you know, you should never trust that. Because when you go, yeah, I'm a really emotionally available actor and I know my shit and I've got it. It's that moment that you're on set and the director goes, okay, here we go. And you're like, oh, damn. And then you're out. So you have to always have the craft. So emotional core truth, what do I know about that is the second step. What do I know about that for my life? And then step 3 is what's the image that best exemplifies it and then physicalize the image. And if anybody ever has trouble with finding like, what do I know about that? The answer is you already do know about that. You just haven't figured out that you know about that yet. And that's an exceedingly important thing. Abby, I just love you like an angel. You're just glowing in the light. It's beautiful. Or some weird alien from a good alien movie. The number one way to, when you say it's about wanting to love but being afraid of being heard, that's the emotional core. The actor says it, and you can see, Melissa in my classes on Zoom, you can see the actor go, and something happens in their eyes, and we go, oh, fuck, they know about that. Like, they know about that. And then I say, so what do you know about that? And the actor goes, yeah, nothing, I don't know, never experienced it in my life. And you're like, you're actually lying to yourself because you're trying to convince yourself that you don't know it so you don't have to deal with it because it's so terrifying to go into our emotions, but that's our job. So when you say, I don't know anything about it, you do know about it already. Your system 1 knows about it. So how do you get your system 2 to go, oh shit, there's my hook that I can use every time. I have to intellectually figure out what it is so that I can viscerally live it. The way to do it is to start talking. So tonight, if I say to all of you, Atlee, anybody, if I say to you, what do you know about that? You can go, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I mean, it's kind of like my dad, and you just start talking. Even if you don't know what you're saying, you just start talking because your system wants to get it out and you need to get out of its way. You can start literally going, I don't know, loving somebody and then feeling like, you know, you're going to get hurt. I don't know. Maybe it's like my dad because I love my dad and I went to a piano lesson when I was 13 and then, oh, Jesus, and it hits you. Just start talking. Just say, my dog's name is Dexter and my dog, and just start talking. And eventually it's going to happen because it wants to come out. Do you understand that? But as soon as you go, I don't know, then you're shut down. Okay? And then once it comes out, you go, oh, now what's the image? And the image will be in your talk. So we now go to Tenzing. Tenzing, the emotional core truth of the character. What's her emotional life? Oh, I'm feeling so emotional with my dad right now. What's her emotional life? What's her emotional truth?
Her emotional truth is intense shame and guilt from her family life, who she still sees on the daily. And she just has so much guilt over what she's done and how much breakage she's caused in her life and her parents' marriage and her own relationship with her father, and how that kind of bleeds into every relationship she's ever had, down to her own son.
Right. And then in this moment, she's like, I can't do this anymore. I have to break through that. I have to break through it. I deserve better. That second part is the scene. That's the action. So the first part was I'm drowning. I'm suffocating in shame and guilt and my family reminds me every day of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's specific enough. Define her shame and guilt. Define her shame. So everybody knows the Brene Brown. The difference between shame and guilt is I've made a mistake and I'm sorry. And shame is I am a mistake and I'm sorry. Guilt can be repaired, shame can't. And So shame is there's something wrong with me. I'm fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think despite that fact, she's like, I gotta go. I gotta work through this. I deserve love, you know? So what's her specific shame?
Well, her dad's an alcoholic, and he used to come home and beat her mother, I think, and her, and so he was very loud. And one night he comes home very drunk and belligerent, and she figures out that the only way to quiet him down is to be sexual with him.
Yeah. So for her, life has been abusive and painful and hurtful. And so basically, she's like, her shame voice would be something like, her voice inside of her says something like, you will be hurt no matter what, or life is really cruel, or you don't deserve love, you deserve to be beaten, or I'm an object to be beaten and used. That's probably what hers is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has the unbelievable courage to go, no, I'm going to break through that, and I'm going to give love to somebody else because we both deserve it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to come to that part in a second. So that's her shame and guilt, and her family triggers it. What do you know about your shame and being triggered and wanting to just disappear and drown in it?
I mean, I grew up in a very, I think, emotionally abusive household where, you know, my dad was always expecting everything. I'm an only child, so I was kind of like the torchbearer or whatever it's called, where I had to be everything for the family, and there's a lot of pressure on me, and a lot of the times I didn't hit the mark, and it was difficult for me to kind of come back up on my 2 feet from that. And yeah, I mean, I'm reminded of it every day because I'm not a lawyer or a doctor or whatever successful thing they wanted me to be, because I decided to choose a very different course. And I think I can relate with Roberta with the courageous aspect in that, you know, I chose this life for myself.
Yes. Okay, what's an image, a perfect image for, or a statement made by your father or mother? It's your father, I think, though.
Yeah.
That most triggers it. That is, it can be an example from yesterday, this week, 5 years ago when you were 7, but it's like and it could also be something that's not quite exactly what happened, is just the way you've interpreted it. But what's an image for or statement made by your father? Oh my God. What's your fantastic heritage again? What's your... That's so fabulous. And so it's in whatever language is the best language always. For all of you, you always emotionally prepare in the language that you were when you were 4. Because that's the language where you were first traumatized by and connected to and found love in. So it's wonderful to emotionally prepare in your own languages. But what is an example of the pressure, of the torchbearer, of the you're not enough, for the you've disappointed us? What would be an example? An image?
I mean, like every fight we've ever had, he reminds me that they left the country for me, and I disappointed everybody.
What do they say specifically?
Just that I'm a failure. I'm nothing.
Is it in Tibetan? Do they say that?
Most of our fights, because I started fighting back, happened in my teenage years, and that was when we were fighting in English. So I remember him saying things in English.
Okay, this is gonna be really messed up and it's gonna hurt, but this is what you're paying me for.
Oh.
Put your hands up to the ceiling. Look at your dad and tell him, I know that you think that I'm a failure. I know that you think I'm a disappointment. I know that you left Tibet for me, and I'm not what you want me to be. Say a bunch of things like that.
I know that you think I'm a failure, and I know that I'm a disappointment, and I know you left everything you've ever known, your security, your family, your mother, your country for me, and it wasn't worth it.
Okay, this is gonna get weird. Ready? Put your hands on your eyes, like this, your palms on your eyes. Good. Take a second, breathe. Get ready, Tenzing. I know you well enough to know that you can handle this. Ready? Now you're your dad.
Oh, God.
Now put your hands up to the ceiling. Go. And there's your disappointing daughter. Now yell at her exactly the way he yells. Say the truth. Speak to her.
You are an absolute failure. You are nothing. We've invested our lives in you, and you are nothing. Look at you don't have a single thing to your name. You are the daughter of two hardworking people, and you've done nothing for yourself.
Okay, put your hands over your eyes again. That was brutal. Now listen to me. What is the thing you wish your father would say? What's the thing you wish your parents would say? You're perfect the way you are. We left Tibet so that you could do anything you wanted. You're a success already. You don't need to be anything more than you are. What do you want to? What do you wish they would really, really say, deep in your gut?
You are so good and enough the way you are, and you are everything we dreamed of. And despite everything we've done against you, you turned out to be wonderful and a beautiful person.
I want to be everything you dreamed of. Say that.
I want to be everything you dreamed of.
Now imagine your father saying that to you. Now, Monty, unmute yourself for a sec. Can you look at Monty? Can you click him? Monty, speak. Just say anything, Monty.
I'm here.
Okay, good. Now take a second. Put your paws over your eyes again. Pause. Palms, but a pause is good. Breathe. Breathe. Know how badly you need to hear that. You need to hear that so badly. And I've been now spending almost, 6 weeks with you talking about your success. I know that you're carrying such a heavy anvil. Like you're carrying such a weight of pressure. Aren't you? Little Tenzing, lovely young woman. Aren't you carrying all this pressure?
Yeah.
I know. Don't you wish somebody would say, you're perfect the way you are. You're what I've always dreamed of.
Yeah.
Good. Look at Monty. He needs to hear that. Tell him that, those words. You're perfect the way you are. I've always dreamed of you just the way you are. Say it.
You're perfect the way you are.
Don't negate it. No. Teach him. Don't say no. Say yes. Teach him. You are perfect the way you are. Like a parent should talk to a child.
You are perfect the way you are. And you're beautiful, and you're so enough. You are so enough.
I love you. I always dreamed of you this way. Say that.
I love you. I've always dreamed of this. Perfect
your heart. Say your heart. I can see your heart. Say it. Get through to it.
See your heart. I can see it.
Somebody hurt my baby. Somebody hurt him.
Somebody hurt my baby, and somebody hurt his hands, and somebody hurt his face. I love you. Danny, I love you. I know you hurt, baby. I love you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Your emotional preparation, Tenzing, is to get yourself in the place of your shame. This is the most beautiful emotional preparation ever. You get to get deep into your place of your shame. And when you're there, transfer it over and hear yourself doing it. Be your dad. And then do it to you. And when you're in that place of shame, then reverse it and say, what do I want to hear? And then put that on him and say, he needs to hear that because she's talking to herself. Roberta's talking to herself the whole time.
Yeah.
She needs to hear these things. And you sit there. Don't move. You're sitting in there. Monty. His emotional core truth is?
He is a fuck up and he doesn't deserve love.
Yeah, you know a lot about that. I mean, divorce, father, you got so much. So go ahead. What is it?
I think it's just the idea of never feeling like a good man, never feeling like anyone saw me as anything more than just a big child and a waste of time.
Yeah, that's a lot, and I know all that's true. For you, unpack it. Tell me a very specific emotional truth. But give me a very specific image for any of that. When do you feel least like a man, the most like a child, the most like you've failed, the most like you've fucked up?
Anytime any relationship I ever had, they always ended up getting married and having kids right after they were with me because they knew what they didn't want anymore.
Oh.
I made a lot of mistakes. I hurt people a lot. And so I just kind of
Name
grew
them.
up.
What's the number one? Who's the number one person you hurt?
I don't know. Every girl I've been with till now.
Can you be super specific?
Um,
Is it your wife or is it your daughter or is it your?
No, it's
not.
past relationships, past friendships. My story's kind of the ugly duckling who grew up to be a super villain. Because I grew up as a short, dorky theater kid with glasses, and I moved out of my small town, and I found out that girls were interested in me, and I wielded my my charm and looks like a superpower, and I hurt people just to prove that I could.
So one of those people that you hurt points their finger at you and they scream at you and they say, "You're such a blank." Whether that actually happened or would happen or it's in your imagination, or what would they say? You're such a...
They would say you're such a chicken shit pussy. You aren't man enough to have anything real.
Okay, put your palms on your hands. I've so fucked up my life. Just say those words. I have so fucked up my life.
I've so fucked up my life.
I've hurt so many people.
I've hurt so many people.
And then I'm a chicken shit pussy.
Chicken shit pussy because I'm a child. I can't have anything real. I can't be a grown-up.
Say that like 10 times over and over. Just say it over and over.
I'm a child. I can't feel anything real. I'm not a grown-up. I can't be a grown-up. I'm not a grown-up. I'm a fucking child.
Tenzing, are you there emotionally? Here we go. Unmute yourself. You do everything in this version. Put your hands on your face again, Monty. You do everything you can in this version, Monty, to absolutely not let her in. No, I'm an asshole. That's the way it is, and I deserve to die. At the end of this scene, he commits suicide because he's going to fuck everybody up in his life. Tenzing, you got to get through to his soul because he deserves it. He's not ashamed. He doesn't deserve to live in his shame. You understand that? Go, fight, scene, as fast as you can. No, push her away. Push her away, man. Hands on face, just push her away. Don't be in the scene. Refuse to be in the scene. You have to say your dialogue, but otherwise, fuck it. Tenzing's gonna get through. Ready? 3, 2, 1, scene, go.
I was saving your eyes for last because your eyes are so dark and beautiful, and I don't know how to say things about them. You're hot. I can see you're hot.
No.
Don't be scared, baby.
Don't touch me, it burns.
Somebody hurt my baby, and somebody hurt him, and somebody hurt his hands. Somebody hurt his face. I love you, Danny. I love you. I know you hurt. I love you.
What are you doing to me?
I'm loving you.
Stop.
No.
It's too much.
Come on.
I'm breathing.
No, you're not.
I'm breathing too much.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna die from this.
It's just an idea in your head. Look at me. Look at me.
You're good to be with.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
No, I can't.
You don't have to be scared. You don't have to be. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm never gonna hurt you.
I am the beast.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Why are you doing this for?
I'm not doing nothing you ain't doing too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, that was so good. Oh, nice work, you two. Nice, beautiful work. Whew, now we layer that in with the first and second act of the back and forward. We prepare for that so that inevitably can happen, and then you have to play. Ooh, lovely. Thank you. Bye. My wife just brought me some ice cream. Good timing. We that's inside the scene, and then he's pushing against it, and she's gently pushing it forward in the first act. So, bye, my boy.